How you doing?
How you guys doing?
Good. Hey, Woody.
Oh, yeah.
Peter, anytime you want to start, sir.
We're gonna, we just returned from executive session, and can everyone please rise for a moment of silence? We lost 4 of our friends and neighbors this week: Patricia Kent, Marina Ortiz, William Pimento, Stanley Preslow, and Ron Smith. Thank you.
Gaze, how are you? Oh, this is Gaze, I should say. The one Monday night to make it, and you weren't there.
Oh, technology is not my friend sometimes.
Sometimes.
So, Ray and I are here tonight to talk to you about the Revolutionary War Memorial Podium.
Great.
I can share. So, I sent you a letter. I have to apologize for the letter because my cut and paste skills weren't working too good. The main intent of the letter is to ask your acceptance of the gift of the memorial podium and approval of its placement in the Veterans Circle. We already worked on the granite. We've chosen a piece of granite with the help of Tom Ferry and Steve. I can't say his name. Devona Cup.
Okay.
I think it is. From out of Taunton, he's a memorial. Out of Taunton, he makes memorials. So, he looked at the different granites and he chose, one that would work for us. And once the snow goes, we'll be able to deliver it to his company for the fine tuning for it. And you approved the granite last year. So that's why that letter says 25 and it's really 26, but anyway. We've purchased a bronze plaque from US Bronze. They're out of Pennsylvania, which the picture of it was in your packets. It's really quite beautiful. Right now it's over at Ray's office.
Oh, it's already done.
Yeah, yep, looks good. And it's ready to be installed on the piece of granite. When you look at the schematic, you see that that'll be on the front. There's like a slant like this on the podium, and there'll be a rail to hold papers and such whenever anyone's speaking in the Veterans Circle. This will be a permanent fixture. So you have a map that's generally determined where it would be. It's not to scale or anything, but using our computer skills and looking at the spacing, that's where we figure it would fit best. So this is a gift from the 250th Anniversary Committee, and it's a tribute to all of those Daytonians who served in the Revolutionary War. Anything you want to add, Ray?
Just that at the Department of Veteran Services, we reviewed your letter, or the
Yeah.
committee's letter, which I'm a
Yeah.
member of, and we don't see any issues with the tweaking of the Veterans Park and putting this where they'd like to locate it.
Okay.
But being a Veterans Park, and placing something on the public, we need the vote of this Board of Selectmen.
Sure.
The only other thing that has arisen in speaking with the veterans community, there is another monument out there. It's for a ship's captain, I believe.
Silas Talbot.
Silas Talbot. Forgive me, I don't have the historical knowledge here, as everyone else does. But it seems to be a little, not a little bit, but some will in the community to move that particular monument to a park on the river, which
Oh, the
is
Tricentennial Park?
Tricentennial Park, because it was a captain. That's part of the discussion that I just came, and apologize for not getting you up to date on that.
I'll forgive you.
Yeah. So that might be or could be part of this as this gets moved around, if that's acceptable, so.
The Silas Talbot monument that's there was originally right in front of the middle school that burned. It was closer, much closer to the building, and once it burned, they moved it to the center, to the circle there. So it, it has lived in a couple of places. Silas Talbot was a Commodore. He actually was a Commodore on the Ironside.
Oh.
He also served in the Revolutionary War. He's got a significant military history.
Sure. It almost looks lost here among the other, amongst the other.
The Silas Talbot one? Yeah. There's also one there that's called, it's a smaller monument. It's the veterans of all wars. So, which is, the all veterans is kind of in front. And then the Silas Talbot one is it's kind of off center too from
Right.
everything else.
Is this going to be a polished granite?
Yes. Yeah, they're reworking it up at the, what's the name of the company, Tom?
DeMonico.
Oh, you already said it
Yeah,
once, so we're not gonna make you
DeMonico.
say that again.
I did better that time.
Yeah,
Memorial.
they'll retool it and polish it, and they're gonna embed the plaque that
Okay.
we have, and
Great.
it'll be put in like you usually see with the rosettes as
Yep.
it's put into it. And then on the back, there'll be a small tag that depicts how it got here, which is a gift from the 250th Memorial
Cool.
Committee. That would be part of it. So,
Well, thank you for the work that you guys do. I mean, it's the 250th anniversary, which I haven't been part of lately. For you guys to put this together is awesome. I think Tom Ferry will appreciate it the most because he doesn't have to haul that podium in and out.
It was his idea.
The papers won't be blowing all over the place anymore.
Yeah.
But, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, can I shed some light on this subject, please?
Sure, just a second. Mark, do you have anything?
I do. So first, thank you very much for working on this project and finding creative ways to get it done in a way that doesn't really cost so much money. So that was awesome as well. My thoughts are, I would just want to make sure we engage our acting building commissioner in the discussions, just to make sure that they are okay with it. Have you done that to this point yet? No? All right. I would definitely want to make sure you guys talk to him. And as far as Silas Talbot, that just wasn't on the agenda for tonight. So just so that the public's reasonably warned of agenda items, and if they have something they want to
So there was, we
address.
didn't want to make any decision on Silas
Okay.
Talbot. That's a
no,
conversation.
it was just something
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
came about that I thought I would put out there, not for motion for action.
Awesome. Thank you.
So what we would ask you tonight is to accept the gift and approve the project
Okay.
for the Veterans Circle, for the podium.
Mr. Woods, you have something you wanted to say?
Yes, sir. I'd just like to say, the Silas Talbot stone that's over there now, that was put over there, I forget what year it was put in, right? And I heard the reference tonight, the Veterans Park. Now, that's always been referred to as the War Memorial. And everything over there and all the stones represent men and women that were in the war. Originally, that plaque for the Silas Talbot stone and the plaque was gonna go to Tricentennial Park. Way back when Tricentennial Park didn't have such a fine name. And some of you have been around a while, they used to call it the Rat's Nest, and there was a lot of behavior that was going on down there that wasn't really appealing. But it's cleaned up, it's a beautiful place. Silas Talbot was the second commander of the USS Constitution. And he was not a combat or war veteran. So I'd like to see that park over there stay as a war veteran, and what the society doing, the historical commission, is doing something for the Revolutionary War. So all the other stones over there, there's a stone for each of the wars. So I wouldn't want, I would like to see that stone installed that Pat's talking about and the Silas Talbot stone moved down to Tricentennial. And it would be really nice there, because Tricentennial Park really is a nice park.
Yep.
A lot of people use it, they keep up with it. It's very nice.
I think we'll get it on the agenda.
And I talked to Ray about this too, you know, and I have strong feelings about these
Yeah.
parks, you know, because I'm a veteran,
Sure.
you know, and I represent our community. So I think that's the best way to go.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you you have to do it my way, but, you know, I think that's what other veterans would want.
Sure.
So
Like I said, I think we're gonna get it on an agenda to move that.
Yeah.
And when we do, I'd love to have you speak again on.
No, and I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
I actually married a Talbot. You know, and way back, you want to read the history of Dayton, you can read about these Talbots. They were all slave owners. You know? So one of the Talbots owned all of Horton Street. And my wife's family actually owned most of all of Elm Street. And that goes way back.
Wow.
Yeah,
You
if
know?
you're original to Dayton,
They're originals.
you have Talbot. And when you do genealogy, it's like everyone goes back to a Talbot of original Dayton families. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I still have nephews and they're having children. So there's going to be Talbots in this town for a long time.
Okay. Mark, this is a review, discuss, and act. Do you wanna make a motion to accept this?
Sure. Is the 250th committee gonna write a thank you letter to the DeBonico Monument Company?
Oh, yeah, we'll
Okay,
take care
just
of
wanted
it.
to, I would.
He's not doing it for free. He's giving
He's
us,
getting grant out of it.
you know, yeah. So, but he's working with us and, you know, yeah, we take care of all of our own correspondence of what we have to do, so.
Very good. Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the Revolutionary War Memorial Podium and to accept the gift as well.
I'll sit down as chair in second. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
It's
guys.
exciting.
It is.
Yes, definitely. Mr. Perry, we were discussing earlier whether or not you have to do this whole reading again, which according to our town administrator, he doesn't seem to think it has to be read. It doesn't have to be read in its entirety again
Okay.
and again. We have it, it's a part of the agenda, it's in print. I don't know how you feel.
Well, before, I'd like to make a
Sure.
change.
Yeah.
Based upon our first reading, on the first page, I would like to take the word proposed out of proposed swap shed mission statement, because we agreed on the mission statement. I don't think it changes the spirit of or intent, you know, so if we could just strike that. But, Mr. Chairman, how would you like to proceed with this?
I can make a motion.
Sure.
To accept the second reading and to strike the word proposed from the mission statement.
Yeah, again, based upon, you know, our discussions, when
Right,
we read this
yeah.
the first time, we accepted that as the mission statement.
Sure.
Okay, great. So,
Next time we'll just say third reading and it will be a policy.
and I will be, if there are any issues or any questions, we will now go home.
You can stay. We'd love to have you. It's up to you.
Thanks, Mr. Perry.
Thank you very much. Take care.
You too. Announcements, you
Well,
wanna read them?
I'm just gonna second my motion.
Oh, I'm sorry, did you read it? Oh, that's right. I'll sit down as chair in a second. Oh, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Sorry,
Nope, it's
Missed
all
it.
good. Highway Department, public notice. There's a town-wide parking ban in effect through April 1st, 2026. No person shall allow any vehicle to remain in the street so as to obstruct snow removal. The Dayton Lions Club Food Bank will be held on Saturday, March 21st, 2026, located at the Town Hall, 979 Somerset Ave, lower level. The Dayton Historical Society invites you to a special research day on Saturday, March 28th, 2026, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at 1217 William Street. Explore stories behind Dayton's historic homes, perhaps even your own. The Friends of the Dayton Public Library will once again be sponsoring Meet the Candidates Night on Monday, March 30th at 7 p.m. at the Dayton Middle School. This annual event is your opportunity to meet the candidates running for an office at the annual town election and ask you questions. For more information, please call the library at 508-669-6421. The annual town election will be held on April 11th, 2026 from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Dayton Elementary School. Board and committee vacancies, Cable Television Committee 1, Cemetery Commission 1, Commission on Disability 2, Conservation Commission 1, Dayton Economic Development Committee 1, Historical Commission 2, Trails Committee 1.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We have 2 public inputs scheduled for this evening. Tonight is the first one. Does anybody want to be heard at night? Mr. Moore, how are you?
I'm well.
Good.
Good evening. Bill Moore, 1835 Smith Street, Chairman, Board of Assessors. At our last meeting, or the meeting before, Stephanie, the principal assessor, presented us with the budget for the assessor's office, which I saw had 2 options that were presented to her by town administrator. One was with a debt exclusion, one was without a debt exclusion. The one that says that with a debt exclusion, meaning the debt exclusion passes and we have more money, we have to cut our budget. If it's without a debt exclusion, we're told we have to cut more of our budget. So I'm here to correct the misinformation that's coming to the public, as well as this board, concerning the budget of the town of Dayton. So a few weeks ago, after I had this discussion with Stephanie at the Board of Assessors meetings, which you can watch on YouTube, as that meeting, I had a meeting with the town administrator where he and Serena presented me with basically raw data concerning the town budget. I spent the next few weeks analyzing that data, and I've come up with information about an analysis about that. I was hoping to get 3 selectmen here, so I have 3 copies. I don't know if you can get one of these to the 3rd or not. I'm not going to go over this in its entirety right now. I will be glad to individually discuss this with any one of you. I have discussed this with the town administrator and found some things that are problematic. According to the data was provided to me. I understand the data changes from day to day, all right? So yes, the data I have is like 3 weeks old, but I don't think it has changed all that much since that point in time. At that point in time, we were estimating that without a debt exclusion, we were going to be short $500,000. That was the amount we had to make up, all right? So in this analysis I've got here, there are situations with expenses. There are some expenses that we could do something about. Not a lot. But the number one that came to mind was that included in the budget was $250,000 for snow removal for fiscal year 26. And we have never, as a town, funded snow removal out of our main budget. It is always funded out of free cash. So right there's $250,000 that could be repaired. But more importantly, and there are other expense items, and I'm not going to go down the detail of them. There's a list in there. You're welcome to look at it. The one thing I'd like to point out is that I think it's disingenuous that people are talking about the BP debt exclusion when it is not the number one driver. It's not the number one issue that we have as a town. The number one issue we have as a town is health insurance. That's $180-something thousand versus $160,000 for BP. BP is number 2 on the list. But we're being asked to fund the debt exclusion because, BP is crippling us. As you've seen in my rebuttal to the debt exclusion, I don't believe that's a problem. I believe the problem is that year after year after year, this town, coming from the Board of Selectmen, coming from the FinCom, coming from town administrator, is raising our expenses 5%, 6%, 7% year after year after year after year. When you are limited to 2.5% income, that is not, you can't keep doing that. It's untenable. You're going to have to end up in a situation where you need a debt exclusion or a Prop 2.5 override. We can argue a lot about the expenses. There's little things that could be done. I think DR is the biggest thing, and I can spend an hour talking about DR, and I'm not going to. The only thing I can say is that in the current projection, where we have not received any information whatsoever from DR, we are anticipating over 2.5%. That's not right. We need to go in debating negotiating with DR, you start at 0. And then maybe we'll go up from there. The enrollment at DR is declining. There's no reason for these massive increases going on year after year. I'm not going to solve that tonight. I'm just put a pin in there, okay? The biggest thing I want to talk about is the thing that I've discovered is why are we in the situation we're in? Why do we have a situation every single year we go to special town meeting and suddenly $1 million appears? Has anyone thought about that? Has anyone been surprised about that? Why do we suddenly have a bunch of money appear at the end of the year? I found out why. We have two different sources of income. One being local receipts, and one being property taxes, and the stuff that we're talking about, stuff that's under the 2.5% limit of Prop 2.5. Local receipts or not. The best example of local receipts is excise taxes. Brings in a huge amount of money every single year. What our accountant and town administrator are showing right now is grossly underreported local receipts. Last year, we had a difference of about $600,000 between what we received the prior year and what they were anticipating for this year. I talked to a town employee, and I was told the formula is you take 3 years average and then you hit it with an 80%. You take 20% off the top. So when you're underestimating your income by $500,000 or $600,000 or $700,000, where's that money end up? When you collect that money, it ends up in free cash at the end of the year. So right now we're being told the sky is falling. We can't afford things. This BP debt is killing us. We need this debt exclusion or else we're going to start laying off people. I think I won't use the word. It involves a cow and excrement. Okay? So what I'm saying is that if you look at the bottom line on that, and I invite you to look at that spreadsheet I handed out to you. If you have any questions, I am always available to talk about it. But the bottom line is that if we correctly accounted for income, and we correctly removed the snow budget, and we correctly tweaked down some of these numbers, particularly DR, we would end up with a $700,000 surplus. So a surplus, we're not short. But yet, we're talking about cutting town employees. So I'm here to I'm here to demand, for the sake of the good, hardworking town employees, that this board tell Ralph to come back with a budget that funds everything fully. No cuts, no laying off anybody. There is no reason for it. We're toying with people's lives here, and it's wrong. There's no reason for it. That's all I have to say. I'm sorry if I raised my voice yet, but I'm passionate about this.
You are, we can tell.
Please, do something. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else at this time?
Side there? No? Okay. Selectmen's reports, do you have anything, Mark?
There's a public community engagement session on Monday, March 9th at 6 p.m. at Dayton Rehoboth High School for the elementary school building committee. So we'd love to see folks there come out and learn about the project.
Yeah, I got an invitation to that. Well, Walter.
Right.
Thank you. Town administrator's report.
You got me 3 days in a row, so no town administrator report.
Then on to old business, which is none, so we're gonna move right on to new business. This is a review, discuss, and act, they all are, declaration of local emergency dated February 23rd, 2026. I believe you have to sign that this evening.
Yeah, just to note, as you know, we had a significant snowstorm, although we're past the state of emergency. If we had made any procurement for it, this would cover it, even though we're signing it post-emergency. But it's also good to have it in place because in case we meet the federal disaster threshold, to allow us for reimbursements for some of the town activities that had taken place.
Sure. What is that threshold? Do you have any idea?
I think for the county, this is what I was talking with Rep. Thurber today. I think
Yeah.
he said $2.7 million.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
We won't, oh, for the county?
For the county.
Okay, so
For the county, so
we'll
we're,
exceed that.
so maybe, I don't know, so we
Yeah.
have a short window to come up with it, so.
Okay.
So I have the department heads coming, with, what they had spent, and it also includes, it could include property damage, so.
Okay.
So-
What has a ballpark the town highway department spent alone on snow plowing? He must have an idea by now.
Yeah, up to, I think, right before the storm, Serene showed me like $230,000, 237.
Okay.
And some bills hadn't come in yet.
Right.
Yeah, so we're at 237.
Okay.
I imagine we had some salting today. with
Last
property
night,
added,
we
so.
definitely had salting last night.
Right.
Yeah.
So is it just that one storm or collectively?
Collectively.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I have no issues with the letter. Mark, do you?
Nope, I'll make a motion to approve the declaration of local emergency dated February 23rd, 2026.
I'll step down as chair in a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Debt exclusion mail of language.
Yeah, in your package is the debt exclusion mailer. Language that we're looking to send out, mail out to the voters. It's been vetted by town council and, town council put it together, and also we had labor council had reviewed it.
Would you be willing to read it into the record? I know it's kind of long.
It's kind of long, but that's okay.
Appreciate it.
This is for the April 11th, 2026 Dayton Town election. The following information concerning the questions appearing on the ballot for the April 11th, 2026 town election is provided to the town of Dayton's registered voters pursuant to the requirements of Mass General Law, Chapter 53, Section 18B, which has been accepted by vote of town meeting. Pursuant to said law, printed information must be provided to the registered voters concerning each question appearing on the ballot for the annual town election. Said information shall include 1, the text of the question, 2, a fair and concise summary of the question, including a one-sentence statement describing the effect of a yes or no vote prepared by town council, and 3, arguments for and against each question prepared by the principal proponent and opponent of the ballot question. Text of question 1. Shall the town of Dayton be allowed to exempt from provisions of Proposition 2 1/2, so-called the amounts required to pay the town's allocable share of the bond issued by the Bristol Community Agricultural High School District for the purpose of paying costs of designing, engineering, constructing, and equipping a new district high school to be located at 135 Center Street in Dayton, Massachusetts, including the payment of all costs incidental or related thereto? Yes or no? The fair and concise summary of question 1. In 1980, Massachusetts voters adopted a referendum that was later codified as GL Chapter 59, Section 21C, and is more commonly known as Proposition 2 1/2. Proposition 2 1/2 limits the total amount of money that a town can raise through taxes, but allows voters to exempt from those limits the amount of money needed to pay debt service expenses, meaning principal and interest on a loan. For a specific project, this process, called debt exclusion, is a temporary tax levy for a specific purpose. It is different from an override, which is a permanent increase in the tax levy limit itself. The present question seeks to exempt the provisions of Proposition 2 1/2, the amounts required to pay the town's allocable share of the bond issued by the Bristol County Agricultural High School District for the purpose of paying the costs of designing, engineering, constructing, and equipping a new district high school. The amount of the town's allocable share during the lifetime of the bond is approximately $6.25 million, with an annual obligation of approximately $210,000 until the debt is paid off. A yes vote would allow the town to annually raise through taxation approximately $210,000 in addition to the amount that the town is able to levy under Proposition 2.5, to be added to the budget to fund the town's allocable share of the bond issued for the Bristol County Agricultural High School project for the lifetime of the bond, with a tax implication estimated to be approximately 11 cents per $1,000 of value on property tax bills until the bond is paid off. A no vote would require the town to pay its debt obligation with funds raised within the levy limit by Proposition 2.5, which would result in reduced budget allocations for town departments and impacts on town services, as absorbing this cost within the levy limit will require the town to balance future budgets through personnel attrition and anticipated reductions in force and services, which would be reflected in the town's budgets for fiscal year 2027 and subsequent fiscal years during the lifetime of the bond. Arguments for and against. Ballot question number 1. Argument for question 1 provided by Town of Dayton's Finance Committee. The yes vote on question 1 avoids major cuts to town services in fiscal year 2027 and beyond. The cuts for fiscal year 2027 include 3 town hall employees who are directly serving the community in critical service areas, 1 council on aging employee whose loss would result in the reduction of services for the town and the loss of our animal control officer. Without passing the debt exclusion, forecast for the budget beyond fiscal year 2027 includes additional cuts to town services and personnel, including our public safety department. A debt exclusion is a limited increase in taxes that lasts only for the life of the loan and automatically lapses upon completion. It is not a permanent tax increase. If question 1 passes, the average annual tax increase for the Dayton homeowner would be $59. Thank you. Argument against question 1, provided by Dayton Republican Town Committee. Vote no. We have been warning for years now about how uncontrolled spending is going to put us in a Prop 2.5 crisis. In the last 5 years, Dayton's tax levy has gone up by over 20% or 4% a year. This far exceeds the 2.5% mandated by Prop 2.5 and has little to do with the school debt. In fiscal year 2021, our taxes were over $1 million per year. In fiscal year 2021, our taxes were over $1 million per year under the Prop 2.5 limit. In fiscal year 2026, the number has shrunk to $58,000. For fiscal year 2027, we are now being asked for debt overrides to continue the rampant spending. These exclusions would raise our taxes an additional 4% for the next 30 years. It is time to say no to more spending. Don't raise taxes. Stop the wasteful spending. Vote no on both debt exclusions. Text of question 2. Shall the town of Dayton be allowed to exempt from provision of Proposition 2.5, so-called the amounts required to pay for the town's allocable share of the bond issued by the Bristol Plymouth Regional Vocational Technical School District for the purpose of paying costs of designing, engineering, constructing, and equipping a new district high school to be located at 207 Hart Street in Taunton, Massachusetts, including the payment of all costs incidental or related thereto. Yes or no? A fair and concise summary of question number 2. As indicated above, in 1990, the voters adopted a referendum that was later codified as General Law, Chapter 59, Section 21C, and is more commonly known as Proposition 2.5. Proposition 2.5 limits the total amount of money that a town can raise through taxes, but allows voters to exempt from those limits the amount of money needed to pay debt services expenses, meaning principal and interest on a loan, for a specific project. This process, called debt exclusion, is a temporary tax levy for a specific purpose. It is different from an override, which is a permanent increase in the tax levy itself. The present question seeks to exempt from the provisions of Proposition 2.5 the amounts required to pay the town's allocable share of the bond issued by the Bristol Plymouth Regional Vocational Technical School District for the purpose of paying costs of designing, engineering, constructing, and equipping a new district high school to be located at 207 Hart Street in Taunton, Massachusetts. The amount of the town's total allocable share during the lifetime of the bond is approximately $20 million, with an annual obligation of approximately $740,000 until the bond is paid off. A yes vote would allow the town to annually raise through taxation approximately $740,000 in addition to the amount that the town is able to levy on the Proposition 2 in one hand to be added to the budget to fund the town's allocable share of the bond issued for the Bristol Plymouth High School project for the lifetime of the bond, with a tax implication estimated to be approximately 38 cents per $1,000 of value on property tax bills until the bond is paid off. A no vote would require the town to pay its debt obligation with funds raised within the levy limit set by Proposition 2.5, which would result in reduced budget allocations for town departments and impact on town services, as absorbing this cost within the levy limit will require the town to balance future budgets through personnel attrition and anticipated reductions in force and services, which would be reflected in town budgets for fiscal year 2027 and subsequent fiscal years during the lifetime of the bond. Arguments for and against ballot question number 2. Argument for question number 2 provided by Town of Dayton Finance Committee. A yes vote on question 2 avoids major cuts to town services in fiscal year 2027 and beyond. The cuts for fiscal year 2027 include 3 town hall employees who are directly serving the community in critical service areas, 1 council on aging employee whose loss would result in the reduction of services for the town and the loss of our animal control officer. Without the passing of the debt exclusion, forecast for the budget beyond fiscal year 2027 includes additional cuts to town services and personnel, including our public safety department. A debt exclusion is a limited increase in taxes that lasts only for the life of the loan and automatically lapses upon completion. It is not a permanent tax increase. If question 1 passes, the average annual increase to a Dayton homeowner would be $204. Thank you. Argument against question number 2, provided by Dayton Republican Town Committee. Vote no. Although the school debt load certainly is contributing to this current budget crisis, it is far from the only factor. We have new revenue coming from the solar farms that covers the majority of the debt load for the schools. A yes vote would mean an additional 4% tax for the next 30 years, not exactly temporary. The taxes in Dayton are becoming unbearable, especially for our seniors. They are being forced to decide between taxes and medication. The superintendent of BP makes over $400,000 per year. This is not for the children. It is time to say no to more spending. Don't raise taxes. Stop the wasteful spending. Vote no for both debt exclusions. That's the mailer in its entirety.
Thank you, Ralph. Good job.
I have an issue with saying that council on aging employee and animal control officer is going to be cut.
I had a discussion with both town council and with the labor unit, labor council, and they said that at the time, we're in a fluid situation right now, so that was okay to put in there. I had reached out to the finance committee to see if they would lessen that statement, and they said they're staying with it.
It's incorrect.
It may be, yeah.
And I think the public should know that.
So
I don't know how you feel about it.
I agree with you. It's too bad. But I think when you allow other groups to make statements, And the town administrator did his due diligence by running it through Labor Council. Did you say Town Council as well?
Yeah, both, yeah,
Both?
yeah, both.
Both of the experts on it. And the Finance Committee had an opportunity to fix it. That's kind of on the Finance Committee, you know? So I think, yeah, it's misinformation, and that's frustrating, because we don't want it to look like the town and this board in any way is doing scare tactics. But we're not the ones who wrote it, and they're writing within the law. But I agree with you. Yeah, I agree. When this goes out, could we put the town seal on there, like in the corner maybe, so it looks like an official, like it's coming
Oh, yeah,
from the town?
We'll
And
I'll
could
work
you?
with town council to we'll put it out in its appropriate manner.
Okay. And then it says April. There's just like a little underscore
Right,
for 11.
So, yeah, and there's a few like and so there's maybe a few typos in there, we'll make sure.
And can you put like the actual annual town election date, location, date, and time? So like elementary school, 7 to 5, just because that will be a
Yeah.
question people ask. And then I thought too, if people have questions, they're gonna. I think for the last time we did the debt exclusion, it said questions, call the town administrator with your phone number.
I'll see if we could include that.
Or if not, if you don't want to do that, maybe like
Well, I'll
a
see
link.
I don't
If
know
you
if we
even
can.
can,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
A link to the section on the website that you've been putting information for the debt exclusion,
Okay.
perhaps. And then just my last thought is before this gets mailed out, just one more check with the town clerk that the state has accepted the questions and it's good to go on the ballot.
Okay.
Just want to make sure that she's all set on her end. Do you have an estimate when you guys think this will go to print?
Early, once you guys approve it, we'll send it out tomorrow, and I'll have Matt just give it the once over, ask him the questions, and we'll send it out. And I would assume early next week.
Okay.
To get it out. I was asking Cheryl about that. Yeah.
Thank you. Do you have anything else?
You commented about the town seal, so it knows it comes from the town, but it's not the town's position. That concerns me.
Okay. It is officially coming from the town.
It's officially
yes.
coming from the town,
Mhm.
but the information on here, I don't know if it should be the disclaimer that these are opinions of
I think that's a great idea.
the finance committee, which I know represents the town, and the other one being just the Republican Party, not the Democratic Party, or certainly not the Selectmen, and
Absolutely.
So I think there's going to be a disclaimer put on this somewhere.
That makes a lot of sense.
I'll ask.
You'll ask. Okay.
But I know.
Kind
I
of
know. I do read in the beginning. It says for proponent.
Right.
But
Yeah, but people aren't going to read it
Yeah.
the way it's meant to be read.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that. Many people will, but I just don't want everybody skimming over it
Okay.
and thinking,
we did this.
right,
Or we had anything,
right.
it is, the views in here are expressly that of the Finance Committee and the Republican Town
Right.
Committee.
Two boards that are not elected.
Right.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay. I'll put that. Yeah.
So do we want to hold off on voting for this language until we see it again? Or you think,
I would
can't?
think soon that we
Against the
get to
wall.
a point where
Okay.
it's
Yep.
not even
Yeah,
effective.
especially if we're not going to meet next Wednesday. Okay, let's vote on it then, Mark.
I'll make a motion to approve the debt exclusion mailer with the changes as discussed, which was adding the date of the annual town election, the location, the time, and adding a statement about the opinions and views expressed in the mailer are that of the Town of Dayton Finance Committee and Town of Dayton Republican Town Committee.
I'll step down as chair in a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There was some more discussion. Okay. Resignation letter from William McGrady.
I'll make a motion to approve to accept the resignation letter with thanks and appreciation of William McGrady.
Step down as chair in a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Building commissioner, job description and posting.
So with the resignation of Mr. McCready, we're putting out, as we discussed, we worked the job description of the building commissioner, and we're going to have an internal posting.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the building commissioner job description and posting as presented.
I'll step down as chair in a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Good job to the team at our human resources and town administrator for putting this together.
Lateral transfer for vacation recognition from for Patrolman Tyler Lopes.
Officer Lopes is requesting that his vacation time from previous positions as a police officer in other towns or in other entities be accepted and to be applied to his vacation benefit. Myself, the HR coordinator, the police chief, and the town accountant reviewed it. We see it conforms to Article 1801 of the CBA, collective bargaining agreement. Officer Lopes was a full-time police officer prior to being sworn in on February 25th, 26th here. He was a full-time police officer with UMass Dartmouth, which is an accredited police department. They go through training for 1 year, 6 months, 26 days. He was also a full-time police officer for Curry College. The contract allows, with the discretion of the Board of Selectmen, to apply that time. He was also requesting that his time as a reserve officer in the town of Acushnet, which is 2 years, 5 months, 17 days, be applied. But we only apply reserve officer time if they are Dighton, they're reserve officers in Dighton. There's no provision in the contract language for reserve officers from other towns. So, in reviewing it, the four of us recommend that, if it's the will of the board to apply his 3 years, 5 months, 7 days, his vacation benefit, and we make no recommendation to if you choose to or not, apply his reserve time. And just it's not unprecedented. It's been done before, and I think, although not the most recent example we have not a police officer, but when we gave back the time for if you remember the highway time. So.
I have a question. If you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
The letter stated July 27, 2025. Could
I'm
you
glad
speak
you
to
asked.
that? And also,
Yeah.
as part of my question, is there any other letters in the file that are outstanding from Dayton Police
No.
Local 306?
No, it's funny because I got that and I looked at it and we spoke to the chief and I did not receive this email. I went back and the chief brought it up with Sergeant Barrows and he says that's a typo because he only got it like when we first looked at it because it was close to this was close to Officer Lopes' 1 year anniversary.
Okay.
So it might have been he probably just had a date line and just went through it. But yeah, no. We all like, why are we just seeing this now? And it's like the chief said he just got it like before the last meeting. As we got it, and I asked the same thing, Mark, and I went back to my, email just to make sure I didn't skip over it. So,
Well, I know one thing I'll ask as part of my motion when we get to that point is that Sergeant Barrows fixes his letter to have the correct date, because it's important to go in the employee's file, and that in the future he signs all his letters.
Yeah.
So I'll ask that he both fixes the date and with wet ink signs his letter.
okey-doke.
How much time are we talking about?
It would be, he would have, meaning vacation time?
Right,
He would go from 5 days to 10 days.
that's it. That's not including the Acushnet, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah. If a cushion time was included, it would, when his 5th year came up, which would be in a few months, he would have 15 vacation days. So,
I don't think we should include the Acushnet time.
Right.
There's gonna be a reward for working for the town of Dayton. You leave here, Ralph, and go become a waiter at your favorite restaurant. You're not gonna say, I want credit for when I was a dishwasher 30 years ago. I'm exaggerating to make my point.
no, like I said, there's no provision in the,
Yeah.
in the contract for it, so that we're making
Okay.
we're making a recommendation on it.
Okay,
But the other one is,
right,
we
fine.
have a vehicle,
Okay,
so choose.
all right, Mark, if you wanna make that,
I'll make a motion to approve the request as presented for Patrolman Tyler Lopes, under the condition that the letter is changed with the correct date, is signed, and submitted to the town administrator.
so you wanna keep the Acushnet time?
No, in the request, I apologize. I'm gonna amend my motion to, for the request to be, sorry, I'm gonna start from the beginning.
Sure.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve the request of Patrolman Tyler Lopes as presented by the town administrator, which does not include the Acushnet time, and for the letter to have the correct date and to be signed.
Okay, I'll step down as chair in a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Vote to apply excess funds to the fiscal year 2027 Dayton Rehoboth assessment.
So, this is something I know, it's kind of funny, came up in December. Dayton Rehoboth had collected funds in excess of 5%, so they're returning it to the town in that amount is $750,000. Initially, we thought, myself with the consultation of the town accountant, that, we get a check or we would get a check or apply for this year, and eventually it would become free cash. I had received a letter from, I reviewed DLS for excess funds, so we can apply it to the next year. So whatever, whatever it is, our eventual assessment for DR, we'd have the $750,000 to pay for it. It frees up $750,000 in the budget.
I thought we wanted it as a check. Didn't we think that we were going to possibly abuse the fact that they had given us $750,000? I thought that had come up when we said, my thought was, I'd rather have a check as free cash than to do battle. Go ahead, please.
No, but I mean, it's if we apply it, that means we won't have that $750,000 applied to the budget, and so those numbers I showed the other
Right,
day.
would be all skewed.
Had included that. Speaking, with the both the superintendent and the business manager, I was as emphatic as I could be. The $750,000 is not like you count it after the percentage, not included in the percentage. And I have to say they're looking at somewhere between 3 and 4% increase.
That's high.
That's high.
I'm inclined to support this, perhaps, once we know what the budget's gonna be from the school committee. I just think it's premature.
Okay.
Is there a timeline that we have to have this vote by?
I will find out. They're not fast at the no, not at, that's my complaint. Is going to be they're not fast at DR, but they're not fast at the Division of Local Services. They made this announcement back in December, and I was looking, and I included it in your packet. They finally verified it, which I find weird. On February 23rd, the Monday of the snowstorm, it was fine. They finally verified it.
Okay.
So we can. The superintendent is doing his presentation on next Tuesday, the
Okay.
10th, and maybe at that time we could include it, sort of amend the agenda at that time if you chose to apply it to the budget.
Perception. That's all it is.
I think we should listen to the school's presentation and have it on the next regularly scheduled selectmen's agenda, personally.
Okay.
I don't know how you feel, Peter.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
All right. Fine.
Part of the negotiation, and just that way we can just focus on what the school's presentation is. Thank you.
Fine enough.
I'll do a motion to table the vote to apply excess funds to the FY '27 assessment.
I'll sit down as chair in a second. Any discussion or more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Approval of the warrants.
I'll make a motion to approve the warrants paid by February 19th, 2026, 34A26 for $127,620.06, 34B26 for $485,376.87. Warrants paid by February 26, 2026, 35A26 for $125,551.21, and 35B26 for $61,961.26, and 35C26 for $36,202.39, and warrants paid by March 5th, 2026, 36A26 for $137,439.64, and 36B-26 for $73,375.78.
Thank you. I'll sit down as chair in a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Letter from Patricia Olson, her resignation from the Dayton Historical Commission.
Motion to accept the letter from Patricia Olson with thanks and appreciation.
Other than accept it, we don't even have to accept it, right? It's just correspondence.
Sure. Withdraw my motion. Thank you.
Minutes.
I'll make
Approval of the selectmen's regular meeting minutes for February 11th, 2026.
I'll make a motion to approve the February 11th, 2026 regular meeting minutes.
I'll sit down as chair in a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anything else?
No.
Okay.
Nothing.
Nothing. Public input,
Is
last
there-
one. Anybody online?
There's someone.
I don't see the Allison's on there. That's it.
No one else? Yes, sir.
If I may.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, please.
Good evening. Glenn Cavendish, 2484 Pleasant Street, Dayton. I did have a question about, I couldn't quite hear what was fully being said about an inaccuracy in the descriptions of the two pro and con statements. I was hoping to get more detail on that if I may.
Sure. I'm not sure of any inaccuracies in the con position. The pro position states in it that we are eliminating the Dayton Control Dayton Animal Control Officer, as well as a position on Council on Aging, and that has not been decided. So that's why we've asked for a disclaimer, because it's not coming from elected officials. This is just an opinion of an appointed finance committee.
So that is able to go forward even in spite of?
Well, yes, but we're going to add the disclaimer saying these are just opinions, not fact.
My only other statement is I would urge the board, as Bill Moore said, to seek a more refined budget submission. I think that's important. I think that's going to be certainly a major pivotal point for anybody who's trying to find the truth in all of these issues, which way to vote.
Sure.
So that would be my urging to the board.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. No one else? Ralph? Karen?
Nope.
Okay. Motion to adjourn somewhere?
I will make a motion to adjourn.
I'll step down as chair in a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.